Hey, welcome back to the Vault of Cult, guys. How are you doing? Hope you're alright. You alright, Mark?
I'm pretty alright. I've been better.
He's been better. He's not really well,
no,
guys. He's not feeling great. He's not feeling great, but he's a soldier and he's going to soldier on.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Because for the fans,
this is it, dedication,
thronged
guys.
Here they are, waiting for this.
Well, so, let's see. So, guys, this is going to be a new ongoing section. Semi-frequent. We're going to start calling this section the Vault Viewings.
Yeah, because it's stuff we've viewed.
Just stuff we've viewed, things we've seen.
Yeah, things we've watched recently.
Yeah, so it could be TV or old films, more recent films. We got a lot of positive feedback from the kind of last show we did on this.
Yeah, we like that. You lot seem to like that. We like that. You seem to like that. So
we're eager to please.
Yeah, so... Yeah, there's more of that.
There's more
Carry
of
on,
this.
listen to that.
So, for a kick-off, Mark, what are we going to start the Vault viewing discussion about today?
Yeah, so basically, it's like we say, it's just stuff we've watched. So, first thing that I ended up watching was Speed.
Great film. Dennis Hopper.
Yeah,
bad guy.
Really good film. Die Hard on a bus, isn't it?
We've said it
realistically.
Before,
we said it during Die Hard. Keanu Reeves in I would say probably. Except, well, you've mentioned John Wick before, saying he's really good in that. But I think Speed is one of my favourite things that I've seen him in, because you know how I feel about The Matrix. It gets on me Wick. He gets on me John Wick. Does that?
Well, first one's
and the next film, but you know, he's not very charismatic in them. But he does seem quite charismatic in that.
Yeah, I mean, he's got like a blank expression constantly, though. Do you not think?
I tell you what, I did really enjoy Oliver. I like this. It is fast-paced.
Yeah. Bang, bang, bang.
Well, it's literally called Speed. You can't go wrong. Could you imagine if it were a sort of plodding, character-driven, just
crawl?
Yeah, walking is what we call that.
Slow.
We call it slow. Think quick. No speed in this. But yeah, really
good, enjoyable action film. Speed.
Yeah, it's not very deep. I mean, you've all seen Speed. I just really enjoy. You know, it's a film that you stumble across on Amazon Prime or on Netflix or on whatever you think it.
Not seen it for a while.
Oh, could I? Oh, yeah. Go on, I'll watch Speed. And that's where I ended up with it. You know,
and I think it shown Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock.
Sandra Bullock is really good in it. Actually, I really enjoyed Sandra Bullock.
I think they both kind of kicked on.
Yeah, I tell you what I really enjoyed about Sandra Bullock is she's doing what she needs to
driving
do. Right, I'm driving bus. And you can tell she's not just like hyper competent heroine, nor is she just like, I don't really know what I'm doing. Yeah. She's scared, but she knows how to drive a bus. Yeah. She can drive. I've got to do it. We're all going to die. Really like Sandra Bullock in that. All the cast, actually. I forget his name who plays his partner in it. You know, it's like a ginger-haired bloke. He were in lots of films in like the early 90s, late 80s. I forget what his name, and he hurts his leg, his partner.
To be honest, mate, I've not seen Speed for a long time.
But he's really good in it. He's got really weird facial expressions, and it made me laugh throughout. When he breaks his leg, he's like, Rah!
Do you know what? I am going to watch it. I'm going to watch it.
You should watch Speed again. It's a really good... It's a really good film.
I enjoy it. I mean, last time I watched it, I remember enjoying it, and I've seen it a few times.
And on
video.
We're not going into detail for these Vault viewings. It's not going to be one of his deep dives. No. But, you know, quick Google. It did really well back in its day. The early days.
I can't remember who directed it.
I can't remember who directed it.
But I remember it like it being a bigger film at the time, the VHS days.
And it got a sequel, didn't it?
Oh, let's not mention
Speed 2.
On a boat?
Speed 2. Do you want this again, on a boat? All right. What kind of boat? A speedboat. No, it's a massive cruise ship.
Cruise ship.
So
60 mile an hour. It's not really speedy, is it?
You know, 60 mile an hour. To be honest, it's not a ferry.
The only thing I remember about the second one is Sandra Bullock's in it.
Yeah.
And she's with her boyfriend.
Who's not Keanu Reeves? That's what I mean.
It's Jason Patrick.
I think that put everyone off. Everyone, like my mum, was a massive fan of Keanu Reeves.
Okay.
She really liked him.
Okay.
Well, she did back in the day. She was like, oh yeah, oh yeah. Because like when it came out, my mum were only like in her 30s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, like. So, yeah, she really liked him in that, and she was like, oh, they're doing a sequel, and then Keanu Reeves is in it, and my mum's like, I'm not watching it.
Yeah.
She just...
The only thing I genuinely remember about that film is Sandra Bullock's in it, so there's the link. She's with Jason Patrick, who's disappeared out of thin air these days.
Running around a relatively slow-moving boat.
60 miles an hour. And at the end, it crashes into the dock, and that's how they stop it.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, which is a bit weird. But anyway... That's not the film we're on about. First film, it's worth you giving it 100%. A watch. Whenever you come across Speed, it's worth giving it a watch just to see Keanu Reeves relatively early on in his career, Sandra Bullock relatively earlier on in their career, Dennis Hopper just hammy. He's almost a cartoon villain. It's almost a cartoon villain.
Well, it's kind of
I'm
that tone.
fine with it. I'm fine with
it's
that.
It's that tone, isn't it?
Well, it is. It's almost like a kid's caper. Is what it is. Oh, you've got to keep it going. The bus has got to keep going above. What is it? 67.
Like
fuck knows. It's got to go fast. It's got to go at speed. It's kind
of ideal name for a film, isn't it? Really, about
otherwise, bus will blow up, and it's just like a fun caper thing. And even now, the villain dies. Dennis, spoiler by the way, as if you need to spoiler alert for Speed. You've all seen Speed. He gets his head whopped off.
Oh, the train! The train at the end. I forgot about that.
Even that's almost quite cartoonish, like. Oh, it's just it. Yeah, fun film.
What else have you watched, mate?
It's just quick rating. Go watch it.
Go watch it. I'm going to go seek it out. I'm definitely going to watch it.
I think it's 7 out of 10.
Oh,
and I think it's about an hour and a half as well, which I think is great.
Yeah, run times again, guys. So, what else have you watched, Mark?
What else did I watch? Well, I'm going to get... it's a film that I only watched... relatively recent. I watched it when it came out in 2017, 2018. It's a film... It's technically owned by Disney. I forget the actual studio. It's one of Disney's 8 million offshoot things. Yeah. And it's called Love, Simon.
And what's that about?
And it's about a young lad called Simon, who we love.
That's on there.
Yeah, and he's a young gay lad, right?
Okay.
But nobody knows, and he gets outed at school, and it's a really, as a gay person.
What?
Oh no!
Oh, fuck off!
Spoiler!
Oh no!
Spoiler!
Oh no! I know revelations.
Total gay. Yeah.
Oh no! You're a bummer. Oh no!
It means a lot to me because it was the first film that I watched that's aiming to be mainstream.
Okay.
That is not especially judgmental about it, and it wants to understand. Like, all the other ones where I could think of is aiming to be mainstream, like, about gay culture. Because normally, films about gay people are relegated to the rainbow-coloured cul-de-sac.
I agree,
the LGBT.
Yeah, gay cinema seems to be... Oh, it's a thing. It's just a thing over there.
I don't like that, because I would much prefer them just to be put in the genre of what they actually are. Like, is it a romance film? Is it a comedy?
Exactly, I agree.
This is the only one where it's... The gayness is the central part of it. It's about his coming out, or enforced coming out story. But it's not about... He's not beaten for it, and his parents are lovely. There's a lovely scene, an hour in the cinema, and I cried a little bit. There were just a little tear, because it really means something when his mother says, like, you've been hiding this for however long, and he's like really upset, and she just goes, you can breathe now, Simon. It's done now. You can breathe now.
I think as well,
I can't tell you how much it feels like that. You could tell that this is written by a gay person
you can relate to, and obviously we're, being a straight person, looking from the outside in, that is your first step into living that lifestyle.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean by that?
And a lot of the themes are.
And I can imagine, you spoke to me before about your personal experience about. I mean, I hate that term coming out. You know, I'm not.
Well, even there's a wonderful scene about that. There's not even imagined. There's an imagined scene where he gets angry about exactly that. Like, why are we the only ones that have got to come out? And he imagines. He imagines all of his friends doing that to their parents. All of his mates going, "Mum, I've got something to tell you. I'm straight," and all their parents like bursting into tears, like, "Why are you doing this to me?" And it's just a fun. Well, it's not fun. It's a poignant film. I would say it's poignant, and it meant a lot to me because, unlike. Like Brokeback Mountain were reaching for mainstream success, but even in that, one of them's got to be battered to death.
Yeah, spoiler alert. One of them dies, and if you didn't know that by now, fuck off.
One of them gets battered to death. Do you know how this one ends? He meets another gay person and kisses him on top of a ferry, and it's just like. That's nice. No one's been fucking waterboarded. No one's been sent to a conversion camp. Not one of them's been battered to death. Not one of their parents have disowned them or anything like that. It's exploring the fact that he's afraid to come out, but he doesn't know why.
And there's nothing wrong, mate, with representing that in a positive way, you know.
He's afraid to come out, and that's what it's about, but he doesn't know why. He don't know why. Okay. His parents are so liberal, and when he does come out, they're like, "Well, we love you anyway."
Yeah, cool.
It's fine. His friends, one of them has a bit of a problem with it because she fancied him and she has to get over that. But
oh well,
and she does. She just goes, "Oh well." Like, what can you do? And I'm happy with the film.
Yeah, I mean, you've recommended it to me, and you know, it is something I will watch.
I think maybe if you don't have that personal connection to it, you might well think it's quite a boring film. And I'm like, I can see
I'll let
that.
you know. I'll watch it and I'll let you know.
And well shot film as well, and well acted. So
I'll see. I mean, like I said, I've got it on my list ready to download and have a goose.
Yeah,
because it's something that means something to you, and you know,
it does mean something. It's not one of my favourite films by any stretch of the imagination.
You have again, you know, like I just said, you have some sort of connection to it, and
it's found its place in my heart. If you know what I mean, it's not. It's like, oh yeah, we like you. It's based on a book. It's called Simon versus the Homo Sapien Agenda.
Oh, okay.
Which is quite a clever title, actually. It's about a bit mouthy for a movie title.
Love Simon. We go, yeah.
And because the reason it's called Love Simon is because he's very often writing a blog post about it, and he ends it Love Simon.
Oh, okay.
It's just a nice little film.
I'll give it a go. So what would you rate that one then?
I would give it 8 out of 10, but I think realistically, if I put my film buff head on it, it's a nice 7 out of 10 film.
Okay.
If you know, I'd give it 8 out of 10 because I've got the extra layers to it, you know what I mean? Because and I got a bit sad about it in the cinema, and not in a sad way, but in a
you're like, touched me a little bit.
Yeah.
Which is what cinema should do.
I would give it 8 out of 10, but I think it's probably a fair 7 film. So I recommend you give it a watch. Listeners, give it a watch, and
if you don't, you don't, and if you do, then we hope you enjoyed our recommendations.
Yeah. Oh, quick thing, it has got a sequel series on Disney Plus called Love Victor.
Oh,
it's okay. But
same thing, just it's serialised.
Yeah, only is Love Victor is writing to Simon. They're in the same school. They're in the same school.
So it's in the world. It's in the world.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It's the Love Simon cinematic universe. Is what it is. But
there'll be cocks and bubbing all over. I'm not having that.
But good film. Watch it, guys.
Yeah, watch it, guys.
So and in a sort of linked-in way about the gayness, there's this. It's the gay icons. It's one of my favourite programmes from when I were a little lad. It's the Golden Girls, and the reason I ended up...
we're talking TV now.
We are talking TV.
Talking TV.
Yeah. It's the Golden Girls, and the reason that I ended up watching the Golden Girls is because, of course, recently the last Golden Girl, the last one, Betty White, she passed away, sadly. Yeah, at age 100, I think, something like that.
Nearly 100.
Nearly 100, 99 or something like that. And she was the last one. I know you've never watched it.
But I remember it being a thing, and I knew I've obviously known, I've heard about it, and I'm sure at some point I've definitely 100% seen episodes on TV, whether it be on reruns or whether it be like on an afternoon thing. And
it wasn't as popular over here, but it was still very popular over here.
How long did it run for?
7 years. 7 years for a TV sitcom. That's quite a long time. Because if you think most of them get about 3 or 4, people nowadays think of the stuff in like Friends category.
Do you know what studio made it? Is it Paramount?
No,
CBS. Okay.
CBS made it, but it was distributed by Disney, or rather Disney Buena Vista.
Yeah. Which was there? Yeah. It was another arm of Disney.
Yeah.
So what is it that you like about it?
For one thing, it's incredibly well written. It's very it's quick and it's witty, and it's one of those films where everyone.
Does it have canned laughter? Sorry to interrupt me. Does it have canned laughter? That's one thing I can't stand about American comedies.
Well,
like we're going to tell you when it's funny and when to laugh. I don't like that.
It does a little bit. Although some shows were filmed in front of an audience, so it's almost like they've canned over actual laughter, which does happen. And at times it is genuinely funny.
Okay.
A lot of the times it's quick and it's witty, all the time. It's not like always roll off your seat laughing, but it's just constantly
low.
Yeah, it's low. One of them is really, really, really harsh and really sarcastic, and one of them's really sweet, and one of them's a bit of a slut, actually.
Hello.
And then the other one's like the leader, and she's very quick-witted, and she's very and
what's the premise?
It's for elderly women. Their husbands have either left them or they've died.
Okay.
And basically the premise was that because in the mid to late 80s, you never saw anything with older women, particularly older women, because people thought there was no audience for it, like for an over 50 sitcom. And what they set out to do was, these women, they still have sex lives, they still talk about it all the time, they're still lively and active, and they've got real life to them. And so I think it's nice because and the ensemble, they bounce off of each other really well. They're really good together. So yeah, they're not necessarily. It's not serialized in the sense that it.
Yeah, it's just episode and episode. Yeah,
it's just this is the thing that's happening in this episode. Very much like Friends, or in the vein of Friends, or in Big Bang Theory, or like.
Would you say just hearing you talk about it there? Would you say something like Sex and the City is a more modern take, but not obviously they're a little bit younger?
I would say so, but. Golden Girls is a lot more light-hearted in its way, because it is just a straight comedy. The Golden Girls.
It's a sitcom.
Although it has hard moments, like it's something that it's got something to say to you sometimes. Like they do an AIDS episode, which is a really big thing, and it's not the usual. Here's a gay man who's caught AIDS, and there's your cliche. No, one of them got infected blood during a transfusion, and there's a really good moment of like where Rose, who's Betty White's character, is like, I've never done anything to deserve this, and where one of them says it in just a total serious note, like, AIDS is not a bad person's disease, it's not God punishing you for your sins, and you know what I mean? So it has something to say, it has serious moments, but very light-hearted show. And I always think to people, if you like anything that's just nice, snappy comedy, and you're willing to look past the fact that it looks very 80s, because it will, because obviously. It was in the 80s. But, you know, I just think it's worth it. It means a lot to me, because I used to watch it on a Saturday morning with bacon sandwiches with my mum, and it would get...
So there, I get another connection with it there. From, nostalgia.
And that's the reason I wanted to watch it, because the last one of them had died. of this program that I really I loved when I was
And you bought
younger.
them off Amazon, you said
like
to me.
I
bought all
own
the
them.
seasons?
I own them now. Like, I love the Golden Girls. It's really funny. Like, I'm not going to try and do lines for you from it because I feel like that.
And is it of its time as well? 80s, is it?
It is of its time, but
obviously
there are some like. If you hear me tell a joke and then you watch that show, I'm not saying it would be the exact same joke, but you'd learn where my part of where my sense of humour comes from.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Just an offhand comment that, I quite like to do sometimes. So
Twitter. There you go.
Yeah, sometimes, and that's where it comes from.
So what would you rate?
Well, personally, I give it 10 out of 10. It's one of my favourite programmes. But realistically, again, I just think it's a really good 7 or 8 out of 10 sitcom that will hold your gaze while you do it.
It's, for one, it stood the test of time because people are still discussing it now. And for two, it had several spin-offs from what I know.
Yeah.
So, a big impact at the time, and obviously it's stood the test of time.
People at the time used to go to pubs, particularly in gay bars, and go and watch the Golden Girls. The Golden Girls would be on instead of football on. But
cool.
in interviews, they were saying in America it wouldn't just be in gay bars. People that in actual just Golden Girls is on.
It was like the program.
Yeah, it was up there with your Cosby shows and your Roseannes.
Yeah.
In an American
hitters, that lasted until the early 90s.
I think the Golden Girls is probably the only one that has crossed over to make a worldwide appeal. Like we tried to make a own, and in a strange way, how usually British shows get an American version.
Yeah.
And they don't work.
No,
they never work.
They never.
In a strange way, the Americanness of this show doesn't work if you translate it over to a British. It didn't work. Everyone just was like, "Well, we'll just watch the other one, the actual one," and so I think that's the only one that has worldwide appeal because its contemporaries were like that Roseanne. I always want to say Roxanne. But that's sung by the Police, isn't it?
John Goodman.
Yeah, Roseanne.
Yeah.
That's I suppose its nearest contemporary, but it never crossed over. I've never known anyone in Britain ever go, "Oh, I watched Roseanne growing up."
No, again, even someone like me who's obviously on the peripheral of it, it's it's something that I'm aware of as a thing.
I suppose the nearest thing in Britain would be something like Birds of a Feather.
Oh Jesus, let's move on from that.
It's better than Birds of a Feather, but it's aiming for that area.
Yeah, like middle-aged ladies, and it's just having a peek into their lives. Well, anyway, talking about things from the 80s, you know what I watched?
What?
I had a double bill of Karate Kid 1 and 2.
You watched both?
Yeah, come on.
They are great. I haven't watched them for such a long time.
Right, so...
But... what did you think?
I hadn't watched them for a long time, and do you know what? The first one, and I said to you when I watched it, it's. I don't want to use. I hate using this word to describe it. It's a really sweet little film. In terms of
sweet.
heart,
I would agree with you with that.
It's got a lot of heart, and it wears its heart on its sleeve, and I couldn't help by comparing it to the first Rocker, where it's someone that is.
Well, it is that
at a point in time in their life where. They're offered an opportunity to learn something new and use their skills to be as good at that thing as they can be. Even though they doubt in themselves.
It's superficially like a Rocky film, even as the training montage.
Comparisons massively between Rocky and Karate Kid, but I really enjoyed Karate Kid. I think it's a decently written film, decently directed. It's not a fancy thing, and it's. Again, I really enjoyed it. It's a really famous thing. Everyone's... And again, you've got things like Cobra Kai, which is just picks up the story from years later.
A big spin-off.
And then number 2 isn't as good, where he goes to Japan and it's Mr. Miyagi's brother and he meets his ex-lover, but in the first...
Forgettable is the second one. It's still fine.
And number 3's... I've dabbled... I've actually watched about half of it and I thought, bit cringy this.
Yeah, it's almost like 1, we really liked 1, 2, we quite like it, but you would do a sequel anyway. It did right well. You would do a sequel. 3, I think everyone's a bit like, I'm not sure you needed a 3.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
We get it. He's a karate kid here, and then he goes to Japan and learns proper karate in the proper place.
And has a scrap like in a mad temple.
So, oh yeah.
I know. I was like, whoa, I'm gonna get this isn't Karate Kid now, where it's the small heart film.
Yeah.
It's a bit, right, we know we're a thing now, and we're more aware.
It's become a bit bigger.
Yeah. Too much.
Yeah,
you didn't need to go to Japan. You could have just had a
Crouching Tiger a bit too much.
Crouching Tiger a bit too much. Yeah, 100%. But I did, and again, you know, I've dabbled with the third.
What is it that you said? It's got a lot of heart.
I think the first one, it's got a lot of heart, and again, there's big for me, big Rocky comparisons in terms of journey of Danielson.
It's Danielson.
And again, you know, it's one of them films that has had a massive cultural impact.
And in Mr. Miyagi, like just the most adorable creature ever set to screen.
Yeah. He's patient, is intelligent, is reserved, but is restrained. Yeah. At the end, when he's like, when he obviously fucking wins against Cobra Kai, and then the fucking guy who runs Cobra Kai, what's he called? Man's gone blank. That guy.
I ain't watched it in about 8 years.
That guy. And anyway, and he's like, he goes to punch Mr. Miyagi twice, and punches 2 car windows in as if the first one wasn't enough.
Yeah.
And then Mr. Miyagi just like ready to twat him in the face, and then he stops and goes on the end of his nose, like a little clown, and he's like that.
Yeah, you're messing with Master.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really
so no,
great.
really number 2, like you say, it's getting a bit dodgy there now. But the first one, again, guys, I'd recommend it. And again, I'd give that.
I mean, I think nearly everyone will have watched.
Correct. You've got to.
But
and if you've not, the first one.
If you've not, mate, watch it.
Yeah, it's decent. And again, it's one of them. Let's give it a 7 because it deserves its place. Because the first one's decent.
Yeah,
but it's not. It's not trying to be big or clever. It's just a solid film.
It's not a great film, and
no, it's not.
But it ain't shooting for. It's not shooting for the stars. It's shooting
2 hours as well. It's over 2 hours.
I know. Yeah, surprisingly long for a film of that day.
But doesn't drag.
Doesn't drag. No.
You know, the running time was fine with. But yeah, 7 out of 10. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, so what else did you watch?
We're talking TV again here, guys. I've actually watched Hawkeye.
See, this is brand new. I haven't watched
Hawkeye it's on Disney Plus, and obviously it's a Marvel series. It does link into the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
As it would.
I think there's only 6 episodes off the top of my head.
Well, that's
not many.
Short.
Yeah, it is short, but bish bash bosh.
Yeah,
we're in and we're out, and I like that. And I can't be doing with that. I couldn't be done with 10 episodes. It wouldn't sustain the story really. So basically, in a nutshell, guys, if you've not seen it, Hawkeye, it's basically introducing a younger, new Hawkeye in a backdoor pilot kind of way. Yeah. Where the story is this young girl.
Basically, they're wanting to phase him out and shielded,
and it's a female character as well. So the whole plot of it is obviously after the snap, Hawkeye lost his family and he become this fucking ninja assassin. And obviously, when Endgame ended, you know, when everyone was brought back and his family was brought back, he retired. Full stop. And anyway, during the first Avengers film, this little girl sees Hawkeye, just a normal guy fighting all these fucking aliens and
from the
it has like a flashback to like
when the battle in New York.
The original from Avengers, the first Avengers, or Avengers Assemble as it's known over here. Yeah. And she's like in wonderment, and then it skips. She's like 22 in it.
Yeah.
And she's like learnt bow and arrow, she's shit at a bow and arrow. So again, you know, it's all introducing really cool a new a new Hawkeye.
I do actually quite like the character. I will watch it because I'd
recommend it, mate. And it's bright and breezy, and the tone of it is, it suits it. It's not trying to be anything other than what it is. It knows what it is.
I'm surprised because
it's one of the better ones.
I feel like they could have quite easily ended up turning that into a dark and gritty. Like
it's not. The tone's really good. The tone's perfect for it. And until you watch it, you'll know what I mean by the tone. And anyway, spoilers, guys. If you've ever watched Daredevil or the Marvel TV Netflixy ones like Jessica Jones and Luke Cage and Iron Fist,
what were they
called? Daredevil,
like the Defenders.
The Defenders, which is the one where they're all like the series where they're all come together. The big bad guy out of Daredevil is Kingpin, which is a really famous Marvel character. He ends up being the big bad in this. which links it in. Again, because Daredevil's in Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And it's, again, a little touch, and it doesn't...
Yeah, it doesn't overwhelm the show.
No,
because this is what sometimes bother me, and Marvel doesn't actually do it when we've got something that needs to link into. Marvel don't do it too bad. They don't make you watch 800 million things.
But
yeah,
it's starting to get like that, though, isn't it?
I think at this point they've probably got too many.
Yeah.
Where you're going to have to start slimlining and not referencing stuff now.
Yeah, standalone stuff.
Fanboys are going to hate that, though.
Yeah.
The fanboys are going to...
You can't give us all this, then go back on it.
And it's like, they have to go back on it because there's too much to fucking reference. It'll get to a point where their films or TV shows are just... It's references. References.
Yeah.
And I feel like they could end up going that way. And the trouble is, the DCEU hasn't worked because it's too referencing. It's way too referencing.
That's a good point.
And the early Marvel films, when they were building the cinematic universe, didn't really do that. They just referenced it at the end, and it links in.
Yeah.
They made the film and then went, and it links in.
Well, that was the post-credits, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They were the kings and they've obviously started the post-credit trend of...
Yeah, exactly. Now you have to wait for the end of the fucking credits. So we get genius, really. So you've had your name shown.
Yeah. So Hawkeye, mate. Talking TV.
Would you recommend?
I would recommend. I've recommended it to you, and I'd give it a solid. And again, I'm very aware of we give a lot of stuff 7s, but it's a good score, and I'd give it a 7. I'd recommend it.
I'm happy.
It's bright and breezy. 6 episodes, bang.
I'm happy with 7 as being like just a good film or thing or something that where we like it.
So what else have you watched?
Yeah, well, in a LinkedIn way. So when you told me this, I was like, I've got to talk about this. Because Hawkeye is essentially just Marvel's Robin Hood.
100%.
Isn't it? Well, he's Marvel's Green Arrow, who is just
DC's
comic book Robin Hood.
Yeah, 100%.
The same.
Yeah.
Well, I ended up... And Robin Hood means a great deal to me. I love Robin Hood.
You do?
I love Robin Hood things.
You do.
One of my favourite legendary characters.
Mate, the Disney one, come on.
Oh, I know. And who don't like the Disney one? He's a fox. Oodle-lally.
Come on.
It's great. But, so I ended up watching I always wanted to call him Tom Edgerton, but his name's not Tom, is it?
Taron.
It's Taron Edgerton.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a bit of a mouthful of a name.
Yeah, weird.
It's his one. It's Robin Hood 2018. It came out in, and I had so many thoughts because it is by far the worst Robin Hood film that I've ever seen.
I've seen it, but I don't remember it, mate. That's how forgettable it was for me.
It was the worst Robin Hood film that I've ever seen, and probably one of the most incompetently plotted, foolishly edited, absolutely wank referencing thing I have ever seen, that they've had the barefaced cheek to push out on screen. They're basically trying to make Robin Hood into... It's like a superhero film.
Okay.
It's not a superhero film. That's literally the fucking point, you dumb shit cunt. Right?
Harsh.
Yeah, well, the opening scene, it's like referencing, the war in Iraq. He's on crusade, and it's like referencing modern warfare. So they're in flak jackets, a soldier nowadays would, but instead they've got fucking bow and arrows, which must be automatic, these bow and arrows. You know what I mean? Pew, 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 pew. And you're like, yeah, I know, but at least he's got the fucking good grace of being a superhero.
Yeah.
He's Robin Hood. He's supposed to be a really good archer. He's not supposed to be fucking Superman, right? And then they get just tones all over the place. So they're making a Call of Duty kind of war thing, and you're like, right, this is a bit shit, so can we get to Nottingham now? Right, he's on crusade, right, he's been at crusade, so they're shipping it, he's been discharged like a modern soldier.
Oh dear.
Right, and then they send him home, and he's like, new sheriff's a bit shit, who's just wearing a fucking...
Tabard.
Jacket, not a tabard. I'm waving my hands in front of myself here. He's just wearing a long coat, like a trench coat, like a modern coat.
A Matrix coat.
Yeah, yes, exactly. He's wearing a Matrix coat. And he's He's overacting, but not in a fun way. Okay. In a kind of... Oh,
who is he? Who's the bad guy?
Oh, I can't remember his fucking name, but I don't know.
Okay.
But I have seen him in something else, but I can't
That's
put
fine.
him.
He's cool.
You know how Tim Curry is wild and hammy and... not Tim Curry. Alan Rickman in the 90s.
Yeah.
One. You know how he's hammy and stupid, but by far the best thing about the film.
Yeah, we've seen
in a weird off film that is The Prince of Thieves. But this,
oh shit,
he doesn't even fit in the tone of the film, and the plot goes everywhere. Of this, there's a fucking cardinal who's trying to have the king killed and stuff like that, and you just. It's Robin Hood, right? All you've got to do is he comes back to Nottingham. The sheriff's a cunt. The Robin Hood says, I'm not having it. Tries to nick stuff from him. Sheriff catches him and he becomes an outlaw and he robs shit. Right?
It's that hard,
all that you... And you can bring other stuff into it, but if you haven't got that fucking car...
That's not
what are we doing?
What
are we doing? What are we doing? If that's not the fucking car, right? Because you can bring other shit into a car, but if there's no car, what are we watching?
And that's just the Robin Hood story, mate, isn't it?
Yeah, it's almost like got none of those elements. I don't even remember a moment where they particularly nick any gold.
Oh no.
So what's the fucking point? There's another scene which I'll call it medieval Ocean's 11, where it goes into essentially a casino.
Hello.
Like scene, and it's like a Bond. It's like a Bond film.
Oh no.
Like he's there, and he's dressed in a suit. It's a suit, is that? It's a suit. I'm not saying you have to do authentic medieval dress because Russell Crowe's film tried that and that was shit as well.
Yeah, well, there you go. Not seen it.
But make a stylised thing where he looks like Robin Hood, not fucking medieval James Bond. I was fuming with this film.
So I think we should cut to the chase, and what would you rate it?
It's shit. I'm going to give it none out of 10. None out of 10. Worst film ever.
The lowest score we've given on the Volvo.
No, I'll give it a 2. I'll give it a 2.
Just because?
Just because I don't think...
It's just Robin Hood and that deserves a 2.
Yeah. Just fine. Just don't watch it. Don't watch it. Don't waste your time... I mean, I suppose if you fancy Tom Edgerton... His name's not Tom, Taron Egerton. Then fine, watch it then. Give you a bit of something to put in the wank bank, won't it? But, except for that, don't watch it.
Yeah, so guys, that's Mark's recommendation on Robin Hood from 2018.
Yeah.
And have you watched anything else?
Yes, in a similar vein. As a matter of fact, Robin Hood made me want to watch it, because there's a bit in the Crusades. It's Kingdom of Heaven.
By that there, Ridley Scott. Ridley Scott, yeah. I've seen this, I've got it, and I've not watched it for a while, and I enjoy it. But I only enjoy that I've only got the director's cut, the extended version.
Well, they're two different films, almost.
I've not seen the original version.
Well, I watched the original version, and I remember thinking the director's cut is so much better than this.
Is it? Because that's the only version I've seen.
Yeah.
And what's that about then?
Well, it's about...
For people and the listeners who haven't seen it.
It's about the prelude to the Third Crusade.
Okay.
Is what it is. The Third Crusade being the one where the King of England goes, Richard the Lionheart would go on the Third Crusade.
Okay.
So this is about what caused the Third Crusade,
right?
Essentially.
Orlando Bloom is the main character.
Orlando Bloom is it, and by far the worst part of the film. He's just...
He ain't great.
He's not great. He's not great in it. I think he had one...
Legolas.
I think he had one good part in his life. Legolas. And this one is not one of them.
Isengard hobbits, come on.
Yeah, they've taken the hobbits to Isengard, and I'm going to go to Jerusalem and stare at a screen for a bit. He has the most blank expression in his face. He's like, Saladin's going to take the city. Saladin is the... Sultan of Egypt, the Saracen leader, so he's going to take Jerusalem. And someone's like, if we don't do something, Saladin will take Jerusalem. And he's like, he's got the face as if someone's come up to him and said, you've stood in some truddy. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, bit of them, Orlando, bit of them, the city's about to fall. Go on, go do something. And he's basically like... Alright, I'll go check it out.
I better go and have a goose.
We'll go have a goose. What's going on here then? Oh, bloody hell.
Bloody hell,
there's loads of Saracens out here.
I didn't know what's out.
You should have said. And I'm like, right, all right, all that.
So is it quite like...
But everyone else in it they're there to play. Like, everyone else is really,
I don't even
really,
remember the tone.
really
Is it hammy or is it straight or...
No, it's pretty. They play it pretty straight, and it's a historical epic, like Gladiator, and some of actually the best battle scenes that I can remember from a Ridley Scott film. Okay. Except, I mean, Gladiator, it's much more of a curated in an arena kind of thing. These battle scenes are really good. Like, they are really, really good.
Like where it's like thousands of soldiers
and a brilliant performance by what's his name? Him out of Fight Club. Edward Norton. Yeah. He plays the
Hulk.
king.
He's been the Hulk in the Marvel.
Yes, he was. He plays the now dying King of Jerusalem,
right?
Baldwin IV, the leper. He's got leprosy.
So it's historically accurate.
It has elements of historical accuracy.
Right, okay.
It's like Gladiator. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not totally historically accurate, but what it does is capture the world of the High Middle Ages in the Near East.
Okay.
During the Crusades, it does capture that quite well, and I really like Edward Norton in it as well. So
I didn't even remember he was in it, mate. It's been that long since I watched it.
Well, you never see his face. You wouldn't know. It's behind a mask.
Oh, right.
The whole thing. He's wearing this metal mask.
I actually bought it.
There's a really good scene where this guy who's a real historical character and a cunt in real life as well, called Reynard de Chatillon, and he'd sacked Saracen's baggage train, and basically Saladin's baggage train, and he's basically going to cause war the kingdom can't afford and can't do it.
Okay.
And basically Baldwin, who is a leper, takes his glove off and bitch slaps him 3 times with his leper hand.
Nice.
You know what I mean?
Use my good hand.
And it's a little bit that, but he's really strong because obviously it's a highly infectious disease, in the film it is implied that he gets leprosy. That doesn't really happen. Saladin chops his head off in real life.
Okay.
But
artistic license.
Artistic license. So I would recommend this film. It's not Gladiator when it comes to like Ridley Scott's films, and I have a special place in it because I quite enjoy the Crusades.
Yeah. But, again, history.
Yeah, but that bit of history in particular, I quite enjoy learning about the Crusades.
Yeah.
So I can't say it's like up there. But again, I think it's sort of like...
I think at the time it was... People said it's flawed.
It is flawed, and it's by no means a masterpiece, and it's not even Ridley Scott's best work.
Oh, fucking hell no.
But...
He's long past his best work.
I think it's probably a low 7 just for a normal thing, but... If you watch the director's cut, I think it's sort of like high 7 getting towards an 8. It's a good film.
Okay. Solid
film is Kingdom of Heaven.
I mean, personally, I'm not in any rush to rewatch it, but I do own it. I do own the physical DVD.
I don't think anyone... I mean, people at the time didn't rush out to watch it, but I think it's worth yourself. If you like an action film, it's got action in it. If you like a bit of an historically based thing, it is that. If you like seeing Orlando Bloom for some reason, I don't know, you've had eye surgery or
you've got glaucoma,
or you've had a wound to the head or something like that. If that's the thing you enjoy, it's got him as well in it. So go watch it.
Okay, so you'd recommend it then?
I would recommend it.
Okay.
So yeah. So, as I've spoke for ages about the things I've watched, you've definitely watched some things that I don't know about,
So I've been watching the TV series called Yellow Jackets, and it's made by Showtime, and it's shown on, I think it's shown on Sky Atlantic over 10 episodes in the first season. It's finished a couple of weeks ago. The premise of the story is this high school teenage girls football team have to travel to Canada for this special match, and on the way, it's set in 1990, the mid-90s.
Okay.
I don't know why.
It's set in 1990 blank.
So these girls crash land in the middle of the wilderness, get lost for 16 months, and it's very heavily implied that they kind of lost the plot and turned to cannibalism.
Oh, so it's a little bit like the...
It's a bit Lord of the Flies-y almost, and then half of the series is set in the present day, where the women it follows 4 characters who we presume are the only 4 survivors.
Oh, okay.
And how they're coping and what they did. Yeah. It does present day, and then it keeps flashing back to them trying to survive basically in the wilderness. I'd really recommend it. It's a little bit... It's edging on... Not dark, but a little bit twisted. Because as the series goes on, it reveals more of how these women are psychologically damaged, how the things they've done in the past when they were teenagers has a big effect on their daily lives now. And they're all a little bit not right, basically, these 4 women it follows. One of them is trying to be a politician. One of them's like a housewife who's just like bored as fucking alive. One of them is a ex-drug addict, alcoholic, in and out of rehab, and one of them is just this really kooky, crazy bitch that works in an old people's home. There's always got to be one. And Juliette Lewis is one of the characters, and Christina Ricci. And Christina Ricci's character in it is twisted. She's fucking... The characters do twisted shit. Because it hints that obviously they've killed and it's not a problem to them, blood and guts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And season 1 does end on a bit of a cliffhanger. You kind of see that maybe they're not the only 4 survivors, and there's a bigger picture thing going on in terms of what really happened.
Just one series?
Just one series so far, and it's been commissioned for season 2, so season 2's coming.
Oh, well,
and again, 10 episodes, it's enough. It says what it needs to say. But it's interesting. It's got really positive reviews out there, and I'd highly recommend it. I think it's my favourite show so far of the year.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I dig it. I really dig it, and I dig it. It's good. Really good. I'm using that.
Can you dig it?
Yeah. Can you dig it? Can you count?
Yeah,
that's the most important thing. But no, mate, I'd recommend it. I highly recommend it. Like I say, it's got good the acting's really good. You know, the production's high. The production value is all up on the screen.
Who's made it?
It's Showtime. They made like Dexter, to give you an example. Yeah. So it's adult. It's it's like an HBO basically Showtime, but it's HBO of just the bigger thing.
Yeah,
because their quality is consistent. Yeah.
Shooting for that same.
Yeah, definitely. But no, Yellow Jackets. I definitely recommend it, guys. And I'm giving it 8. I'm giving it 8 out of 10.
8.
And out of 10. I'm looking forward to seeing where the story goes in season 2.
Okay.
And how much more it reveals in terms of, because the first episode kind of starts with this weird ritualistic thing and this girl being chased through the forest and she falls into a pit on spikes.
Ooh.
And then he's all like chanting, and they're all dressed in like animal like carcasses and headgear. So straight off the bat, you're like, "Oh, what the fuck's this?"
Yeah.
And I was on that ride then, and I enjoyed the ride, and I'm going to continue the ride into season 2.
That with a series like that, that's all you can ask for, though. Are you on for the ride?
100%.
You know,
100%.
So, yeah.
But yeah, I recommend it, mate. Like I say, the acting's good, and Juliette Lewis and Christina Ricci's character is really, really twisted in it. So that's it in terms of what I've watched TV-wise, but I've watched a couple of other films recently, one of them being The Accountant with Ben Affleck.
I've never seen that. I said to you earlier, I've never even heard of it.
Not a great film. So the premise of that in a nutshell is Ben Affleck is on the scale massively. Shows him as a kid at the beginning, and he's got, he's on the spectrum. And obviously it skips to present day, and he's an adult, and he's an accountant basically.
Okay.
But there's this copper in it. It's Joan Jameson from Spider-Man.
J. Jonah
Jameson. Yeah, I can't remember.
I can't remember the actor's name.
I can't out of the top of my head. And so basically, the copper's trying to find out. He knows Ben Affleck's character has been involved with gangsters and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
And he's been pictured with gangsters and like really, really naughty boys all around the world. and this cop is trying to find out who is this guy and why is he being pictured with all these high-level naughty boys all around the world. And he gets this little partner who's like, and that's your task to find out more about him.
Okay.
So it starts off really interesting. Like, you get the impression that he's like maybe he's some sort of assassin enforcer.
Oh, okay. Ben Affleck's character.
Yeah, Ben Affleck's character. Yeah. Again, not kind of spoiling it for people who haven't watched it, but it turns out that years ago, Ben Affleck killed all these like gangsters and spared this copper. And this copper's kind of been just keeping an eye on him and kind of working.
Tabs.
Kind of thing. But the tone of it's weird, mate. It introduces a female character like Anna Kendricks, and she's dog shit, mate. She cannot act for shit.
Anna Kendrick?
Yeah, she's dog shit in everything I've seen her in. Absolute garbage.
I wouldn't say she's dog shit in everything I've seen her in.
She's not. Like, she can't act, mate.
I don't think she's ever in.
She's done that Pitch Perfect and that kind of film.
Yeah, but it's not for you. Like, having known you just won't like that.
No.
You know what I mean?
But yeah, anyway, mate, the Ben Affleck it's not great, and I'm just summing it up where I'm giving like a 5 out of 10.
Oh, okay.
Because at the end of it, I was just like, meh, what was that? It had, and I think it's one of them films where it had.
Did you not enjoy it?
Not really.
But you sat through it.
I sat through it because I was giving it a chance.
It's kind of the bare minimum you want from a film.
Yeah, of course. But in the bones of that film, there is a good film somewhere.
Yeah, there's a good... I know what you mean. When you watch a film and you're like, oh, there's a good film here, but you've put it in wrong order.
Yeah, they've executed it really poorly.
Yeah. Is it poorly edited? Is it poorly...
No, it's...
Is it poorly written? Is that the main thing? Because I think that's the one thing that you can't redeem.
The writing's not great, and there's no real character building. Not great, mate. Not great. But if there's someone out there, listeners, that have watched it and think it's a great film, I totally disagree. Just totally disagree because it's not great. I don't mind Ben Affleck. I watch him in anything. I'm not a Ben Affleck hater.
You know, right? You know, there are people who just say, "Oh, we don't like Ben Affleck," just for the sake of it.
Yeah,
and
I get you, 100%.
Just for the sake of it, and
no,
it's like I've never seen him in anything where I'm like, "You're the worst part of the film."
He just gets a lot of hate for some reason all the time.
Well, I think he gets a lot of hate. He gets a lot of hate by the Batman crowd.
That's true, which is unfair.
Unnecessary.
Unfair, because he's not the problem with those films.
He's not the problem. The written shit.
And I like the fact in those DC films that he plays an older...
Yeah, I just think his character needed to be better written. Yeah. He works with what he's got,
100%,
and I don't think he's the worst actor I've ever seen.
No,
I don't even think he's bad in, which is not a good film. And like Pearl Harbor, it's not a good film, but he's not the worst part of it. I nearly think that in nearly everything I've ever seen Ben Affleck.
Yeah. I agree. I'll watch him in anything, man. He's, like I say, he's very rarely been the worst thing in that film.
I will say that he's very rarely the standout anything.
I agree.
Actor. He's mid-tier.
I agree.
Mid-tier leading man.
I do agree.
Yeah.
Another thing that I watched, mate. So yeah, I give that a 5 out of 10 because it's not great. Was a film called Nobody. Now, Nobody stars Bob Odenkirk, and I don't think you've watched it, but he's a character called Saul out of Breaking Bad, which is another brilliant, one of the best TV shows ever made for me.
Is it?
Yeah, it genuinely is.
It is. Is it?
Really?
Plodding and insists upon itself, but crack on.
No, you're wrong. Anyway, so this film, in a nutshell, it's based like a John Wick.
Okay.
So he plays this just family man who's just a company man, and this young couple break into his house to try and rob him.
Oh, okay.
And they have a gun pointed towards his son, and he freezes when he goes to attack him. And anyway, they fucking rob his watch, and they just grab a few fucking quid on the side, some dollars there in the fucking bowl, and get off. And then obviously his family are a bit like, oh, well, you can't protect us now. And he's like, oh, fucking all right, okay. So Long story short,
Bit harsh.
He goes on a rampage to try and find these two robbers.
So we've overcompensated massively. Oh, you can't really protect us. We'll go on a rampage then.
And then he got literally. So he realizes these two.
I just meant like buy us a new fucking burglar alarm.
Yeah,
his missus.
He's like really pissed off. Goes to find this couple that broke and realise that they've got fuck all, and the young baby that they've got is poorly, and he's like, oh fuck, all right, okay, I'm going to leave you. On the bus ride home, these Russian gangsters crash the car next to this bus that he's on. They get on the bus, and he's like, he's in his own world, and they come on and they start teasing all the other people on the bus. And anyway, you realise that he just gets up and kicks fuck out of them all, throws them through the fucking window, and the action scenes are really brutal, quite bloody. And you realise again that he's just not an ordinary guy, and there's more to him.
Okay.
So yeah, and obviously these Russian gangsters, that sets off the story in terms of he beats them all up, and then they come after him, and then you realise that he was some fucking hard nut, and he used to work for this secret agency in the government, and he was a fucking fixer. And then, you know what I mean? He was part of this, and like the tone of it, it's quite. There's a lot of light moments in it, and it plays it almost fun. It's fun. It's a fun film. It's a really fun film, mate.
Okay.
Fun film, but it's very John Wicky, where it's a guy just goes on a rampage, basically.
So after the last one, where you were like, would not recommend.
100% I'd recommend it.
Right, you would recommend it.
Yeah, I'd give it 8 out of 10.
I might.
Because I've seen it a few times, and each time I've gone, good film.
Yeah.
And what it does best, it knows what it is.
Yeah.
All the way through. And there's not a bad performance in it. And just on a side note, Christopher Lloyd's in it as his dad.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And he's a badass in it as well. Like, shotgunning and everything, mate. Yeah. But it's a really good action film. The tone of it's really good. 8 out of 10. Anyone, guys, if you're out there, guys, and you're looking for something to watch, look out for a film called Nobody. And on the front cover, he's got like just a face where he's all beaten and bruised. Really, really good film. So yeah, mate, that wraps up everything I've watched recently.
Yeah, it's basically all I've watched as well. So, like, guys out there, if you've got. Like, what have you watched?
Yeah, let us know. We're on Instagram now, and we know you're following us. Bit creepy.
Yeah, a bit weird. But it's not weird. Carry on.
No, please. We want more. Give us some feedback. Get in touch with the Instagram. Get in touch at volivecult@gmail.com.
What have you watched, and do you want us to talk about it? Did you have thoughts? Because I bet you do.
Yeah, give us some feedback.
Exactly.
If you've got different thoughts or you've watched something interesting, let us know.
Do you violently, well, not violently, but viscerally disagree with
or wholeheartedly agree?
Yeah, or wholeheartedly agree. Especially the latter. Then tell us.
Get in touch.
Yeah.
So, guys, thanks for joining us. And that's a wrap up for this episode. Yeah. So, thanks for joining us on our second episode, kind of first episode of Vault Viewings.
Yeah.
And we hope you join us again.
In a bit,